prospective international students who desire to study in Canada, kindly watch out for these 3 basic refusal reasons that can get your study permit denied. Number 1, we have the purpose of visit. Number 2, we have the personal asset and financial situation. Number 3, we have the home ties. So guys, before I proceed to explain to you what is the consequence of the purpose of visit, please, if you're watching my video for the very first time on YouTube or anywhere else, please kindly subscribe to my channel, like and share my videos, particularly this video. So what is the purpose of visit? The purpose of visit denial grant can come if your previous studies or your current work experience does not relate to your proposed study which you intend to study in Canada. What also can cause the purpose of visit? If your statement of purpose, also known as SOP, do not clearly state your study intent, the component of the study or the features of the study, and also do not clearly explain your career perspective of why you intend to study such program or study in Canada, the application is most likely to be denied based on purpose of visit. So for some reason, if you cannot write your statement of purpose yourself, you can check out at GCMS Writers on IG, at GCMS Writers on IG, the right top-notch statement of purpose for admission for immigration purposes to Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and other countries as international students. So we have also study or program progression. For the program progression, if you study a bachelor's before and you downgrade to study at a diploma level, automatically your application will be refused based on the purpose of visit. The visa officer do not expect you to study a bachelor's before and later you downgrade yourself to study at the diploma level. No, it's a no. It's a red flag. So that do not show study progression. What shows study progression? If you study at the bachelor's class before, you are desired or you are needed to proceed upward in class to study at either the master's class or the postgraduate diploma or certificate class. So yes, after a bachelor's, the most suitable study progression is the master's, but for some reasons not everybody desire to study a master's program. So for those people who do not desire to study a master's program after their bachelor's, yeah, you can go for the postgraduate diploma or the postgraduate certificate program. This shows absolute progression. So take note if you are a prospective applicant who intend to study in Canada. And a general rule is that no matter the country you intend to study in, whether the UK, the New Zealand, Australia, or even the US, if you intend to study in this country, ensure that your program of study has study progression. Otherwise, your application is also most likely to be refused based on your intention of studying in such country or in that country. So take note. The second area you should take note of is the personal asset and financial situation. For some reason, funds, when it comes to immigration, when it comes to study abroad, or when it comes to study in Canada, is very crucial and significant. No matter how well packaged your application is, if your funds is insufficient or if your funds do not meet the required amount to be shown as proof of funds to study in Canada, that application will be refused or denied. So what you should watch out for when you are packaging your application in order not to get refused based on personal asset and financial situation. Number one, you should watch out for a sponsor, the sponsor you intend to use. If you intend to use a third-party sponsor, kindly show strong proof of relationship to that sponsor. A third-party sponsor could be your brother, your sibling, your auntie, your uncle, or even your friend. But the best form of sponsorship is a parent sponsorship or a self-sponsorship application. Some people also use company sponsorship application for some reasons best known to them in terms of getting funding or getting financial support. So if you are the type that is using a third-party sponsor like your family member or a company or a friend, which is not advised, please show strong proof of relationship and also show existing proof of funding from such persons to you before if you are using a family member. But if a company intends to sponsor you, also show strong proof of employment to that company, and also you show existing form of financial sponsorship, whether to seminars, conferences, workshops, academic, just name them. Ensure that the company show existing proof of such sponsorship before, so it gives the officer clear justification that the arrangement is legitimate. So what else could cause the personal asset and financial situation? When you have series of lump sum deposit in your account prior to when you are submitting your application. At most 6 months to when you submit your application, you should have no lump sum deposit in your account. The best way to show proof of funds is not having any lump sum deposit in your bank account. But for some reasons, if you think it's unavoidable, or you cannot do without having lump sum in your bank account because of the nature of your business or because of the nature of your sponsor's business, then what you do is kindly explain in details the sources or the provenance of those lump sum. Then include sufficient relevant documentation. Do not just explain in your letter of explanation without including proper documentation to back what you've explained in your letter of explanation. And also, if for some reason you are not able to write a detailed and a concise and a convincing statement of purpose to explain your lump sum, or to explain a refusal or a ban or a misrepresentation, please chat at GCMS Writers on IG or X at GCMS Writers together on IG. They write top-notch statement of purpose and they give quality advice and counseling regarding your study permit, your visitor's visa, and the spouse open work permit to Canada. So take note of lump sum. If your bank account is having lump sum, do not submit without explaining those series of lump sum in your bank account. Even if they are just one sum deposit, ensure to explain that lump sum deposit with evidence. Also, watch out for microfinance bank. It's advised that you should not use a microfinance bank account as your primary proof of funds. Rather, you can use it as a supplementary proof of funds, but use a statement that comes from a commercial bank as your primary proof of funds. If you do, your application is also most likely to be denied based on the personal assets and financial situation. The Canadian visa officers always state that they are not able to verify the statement or the proof issued by a microfinance bank, and also they also consider applicants using proof of funds as low income earners. So if you operate a microfinance, we know that you operate a microfinance because of the interest rate attached to saving with a microfinance bank, but the visa officer do not consider this as a reason, because they see all applicants who, or the sponsor of an applicant who operates microfinance as low income earners because of the purpose attached to microfinance bank in most countries of the world. So take note and do not use a microfinance bank account as your primary proof of funds. So the next, we have study loan. For those students who are very keen, or who are keen to use a study loan from Empower Finance, this is for you. One thing is collecting the loan, the other is justifying or explaining in details with proof how you are going to be able to repay the study loan collected. Even if it's over a 15-year period of time, you are required to show detailed information or explanation on how this Empower study loan is going to be deferred. So do not fail to explain how you are going to offset the loan. Please ensure you include sufficient and relevant documentation that back your sources of income, your provenance of funds, to be strong and reliable enough to show strong proof that you are capable of offsetting that Empower study loan. And for some reason, you should take note that the study loan that is coming from Empower should not make the bulk of the money in your bank account, no matter how small it is. Do not make that mistake of showing proof of funds that has Empower funds as the overall funds in that bank account. It does not normally go well with this officer, because these officers might consider that your own provenance of funds is weak, because by reviewing your financial statement with sparse inflows or low sitting balance, they tend to think that you don't have a strong source of funds to offset this loan or sponsor yourself for an international study in Canada. So be careful when you are applying or when you are taking Empower study loan. So one thing is collecting it, like I said before, and another thing is justifying it. So if you collect an Empower study loan, ensure that you are able to explain in details how you intend to offset the Empower study loan. Ensure that you include enough documentation to back or to support your financial income sources as reliable and strong enough to pay off the study loan or meet any general expenses in Canada as an international student. And also be careful not to use too much information when explaining how you intend to offset this Empower loan. Be concise, be straight to the point, don't beat around the bush, because once you beat around the bush, you make mistake. So be wary of making mistake that can cost you a lot. So take note of this. It's very important you do. For the third, which is home ties, when showing home ties, do not show home ties just from the social aspect. Rather, you show home ties from the social economic aspect. What do I mean by social aspect? Social aspect is when you show home ties using your parents and siblings. Then the social economic ties is when you show ties using your family, your parents, your siblings if you are a single applicant, or your spouse, your parents, and your kids if you are a married applicant. So if you're showing socioeconomic ties, you use your family and you use your provenance of funds, what gives you funds, your sustenance means, to show socioeconomic ties. This shows a very strong proof of return back to your own country after you have studied in Canada, because the officer knows that yes, most people do show family in order to convince the officer that they will return, but you also putting investment as part of your own ties make that convincing more stronger to the officer that yes, certainly your family is there and also your funds is there. What a man, so to an extent, a man can do without family for a while, but a man cannot do without money for his whole life. So I don't know if you get the logic there. Please don't misquote me. So if you intend to show home ties, ensure you show your home ties from the socio-economic point of view. So if you do this, most likely your ability to show a strong home ties will be very easy. So if you like this video I have shared with you today, please do not forget to share, like, and the most important, subscribe. Till I come again with another insightful video, please don't forget to continue sharing this video or to keep sharing my videos. For some reason, if you are in need of solutions or answers to your problem or your immigration journey to Canada, please use the comment section to drop that question. See, I go shock you. I go do video to answer that question. Just drop that question in the comment section. I will be there to respond as soon as possible. So as you do, namaste.